Hello and welcome to Hard on Hardware, the hardware channel that really is hard on hardware. This first video was a bit weird for me to make though, because I didn't really know where to start. So I decided to tell a story about how I got to the machine that's behind me here. It all started when my girlfriend Anna came to me and said, "David, how do I become as cool, confident and good looking as you are? How do I join the PC gaming master race?" So I decided to help her out by building her first rig for her. Now, it's always quite a big investment building your first gaming PC, so I thought I'd make it a bit cheaper for her by scrounging around for some used parts that I had that she could build a PC around. And what I ended up finding was this: a AMD FX 8350, which is everybody's favorite CPU because of how just powerful it is when it comes to single-threaded applications, and an Asus, I think it's 990FX is the chipset, Sabertooth Revision 2, I think it is. Now, this has been in my previous gaming PC since like 2014, 15, I can't quite remember the date, but it's been in my PC for a while. But because it's, the motherboard itself has like a 5-year warranty on it, and the Sabertooth stuff usually they're pretty indestructible. So I thought it's not a bad place for her to start. And because you have like 16 gigs of RAM, and she's going to be gaming at 1080p, 60 Hz, so it means that, the CPU limitation isn't going to, or I thought wasn't going to be as much of a problem. So we decided to buy a GTX 1060 and a couple of other bits and bobs to build a gaming PC for her. And when everything was assembled and put together in the machine, turned it on and everything was all hunky-dory for about 2 weeks. And then after that, it just kind of stopped booting into Windows. And I don't really know what was wrong with it, but it just wasn't working. So I came to the conclusion that it's the motherboard that's broken. I'm not really going to go through my diagnostic process, but it wasn't working. That's when we decided to kind of scrap the whole 990FX platform and go for something a bit more modern. Which brings me to the next part of my story, which involves Yahoo Auction. Now, if any of you have been in Japan before, you'll know that Yahoo Auction is basically just the eBay of Japan. It's the same concept where sellers list things and buyers bid on them, and the person that gets the highest bid ends up buying the thing. Now, there's a trend here where shops, and I think shops is the best way to refer to them because, I think it's just a guy that calls himself a shop, goes and buys up a bunch of broken PCs, and then they tear them down and sell off the individual components as unverified because, well, the seller doesn't test them and they don't necessarily know that that component is the point of failure that has broken the machine. So there's potentially a chance that this component is going to work, which means you get a pretty tasty deal on a CPU or a motherboard or a graphics card. So I decided to try it out because, well, if it works, it's a great deal, and if it doesn't work, you lose a bit of money, but it's not that big a deal. So I ended up buying a 7700K, and for very little money actually. I was hugely excited. Then the thing arrived in the mail, I opened up, it was quite funny because it's like in an envelope and you open it up and they've just like taped the CPU to like the bottom of the envelope. So when you open it up, it's just kind of like hanging there in like a bit of bubble wrap. Right there, look at that, there's your little CPU hanging right there. Isn't that a beaut? That was already a bit of a bad sign. But I decided to power on and buy a motherboard and RAM for this CPU, put it all together, and lo and behold, the CPU didn't work. I know that it wasn't the motherboard, and I know that it wasn't the RAM because they were brand new. And because the motherboard was giving me a CPU warning LED, so that's pretty indicative of it not working. So then I didn't know what to do, because if I went and bought a 7700K full price, it's not the greatest purchase because I want to be a content creator, and the Intel platform, or at least the Intel mainstream platform, is not the best for content creators. You know, it's not great for rendering videos and stuff like that. But then Anna came to the rescue and decided that because her machine was going to be purely for gaming, why not use the Z270 motherboard in her machine, and you know, that leaves me open to buy a Ryzen 7 CPU and so on and such forth. And that's what we've decided to do. So we went out and bought her a 7600K to replace this dead guy over here. Oh, why don't you work? It's really infuriating that it doesn't work, but it's broken. Even though it looks pretty new, which always means it should work, right? Anyway, so we went and bought her a 7600K, not off of Yahoo Auction's weird black market. And, well, now she has a running machine behind me over here. So, what I'm going to do is in the next video, I'm going to do a breakdown of kind of the machine, the components in it, and some beautiful B-roll of it. And then after that, I'll give you some benchmarks and see how well it runs. Thank you very much for watching the video, and I hope that you found my story even slightly interesting.